and disadvantaged people around our community, which for me is nothing short of inspiring. In our household and our community, we hold my father to a very high regard as being a perfectionist and an overachiever. I always looked at my father as a very logical and systematic person, that everything worked on calculations and strategic planning, and less on emotion, and I still had no scenario where I could bond with my father directly in an emotional way. Which leads me to my second story. Around 2017, my dad had built a big and wonderful house in our yard and was in the process of completing it by adding more things, and we would help where we could. The one day, he asked me and my brothers to put vine plants on the walls around the house. In doing that, he showed us steps that we needed to follow to get the job done. Taking a hammer, putting a nail on the wall, and putting vine plants around them so that they could grow onto each other and creep all over the wall, and the house would look amazing. It was nothing but a masterpiece of a house. Me and my brothers quickly got on the job that even though we had not done before, it seemed quite exciting and we wanted to do our bit to help even though it looked like we didn't know what we were doing. But whatever part we were doing, it was just a drop in the ocean, but a drop nonetheless. My dad had to leave because he had to complete other errands, obviously. And I couldn't wait for us to finish, and I couldn't wait for my dad to come back so he could see all the work that we have done. Me and my brothers were so excited about what we were doing. I remember my dad coming back and inspecting the job that we had done. But when he came, I could clearly realize through his face that he was not pleased. He was aware of the job that we had done, but what was the highlight of the job that we had done was that we had left a hammer. So I was very disappointed in what was happening. And then that got me to realize that my dad is a perfectionist. I remember saying to him, why is he not optimistic about the job that we had done? Long story short, I shouldn't have asked him that, because after that he sat me down for a lecture and my siblings, and they know that those lectures are far from cute. But in that sitting, I managed to really understand my dad more than I had before. He reminded me of the big family that he has and how he has never abandoned us and always provided for us at all costs. And he was a father figure to all of us. And he never left us at any slightest inconvenience. The level of which this happens for a father in South Africa to be absent is 60%. So for him to break those odds was amazing. And so what he told me was that if anything that should be taken from this is that he's the most optimistic man in the world. His ability to love, care, provide unconditionally for this many children and for these many years is nothing but optimistic. Not know how these children will grow up to be, but still be doing all the work you can to provide for them. He told me that I will learn everything that he's doing one day when I have children of my own. The facade of it all seems as though he's just difficult, but he just shows love in a different way. And I got to see it that day. Tough love, he calls it. Yes, he's a bit of a perfectionist, but part of that is what got him to where he is today. I've seen and heard how tirelessly my dad has worked I've seen how tirelessly my dad has worked on this book, from the actual writing of the book to the accumulation of the photographs that aided the design of the book. Rumor has it that for the last few years, my dad would go to his quantity surveying practice, get in his office, lock him up, and continue writing this book. Rumor has it that my dad would go to his house after work, get to his resting place, then continue writing this book. But then again, all these are just rumors. I would then like to say how excited I am to see my dad enter this journey as an author. His dedication and commitment has always inspired us and those around him, and I wish him nothing but great success. He has always had these ideas on things, and I'm pleased to see all these ideas come together in this book. Well, the first part, that is. I can't wait for us to all dwell into this book and explore the message that my father's trying to convey to all of us as the readers. I expect it to be nothing less than exceptional. To my father, I admire your hard work, commitment, and courage, and I hope you reap the fruits of your labor with this book. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Pal. What a lovely speech. Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a question and answer session. And we, certainly Tabu, will welcome any questions that you may have. Any questions, anyone? There's a lady there, yes? Yes, very much so. The gentleman with a raised hand? I beg your pardon, I didn't hear that. E-book? So the answer to the question was next year, 2023. Good. Early 2023. Thank you. There's a question from the young man over there on my left. Yeah. Would you like to speak into the mic or? Okay, speak. Go ahead. Speak loud, please. I think the question is, how many hours did you spend writing the book?
Hours. Okay, I'll give you the yes, then you can do your calculations.
You can work it out yourself.
Take it about 14 years, but it's not just writing, it's also collecting all the images from all over the world. So, yeah, about 14 years.
That's a good question. Another question from the lady there.
Thank you for the question. I had not thought of that. But now that you asked the question, maybe I must plan to do so. Thank you for that.
All right, we have another question from the young man here. Okay, Tabu, yeah, deal with that one.
Hello, thanks. I didn't know that it was going to work. But the main thing is persistence. In fact, there have been many times when I decided, well, why can't I just lie back on the chair and watch TV and enjoy myself like everybody else is doing? Why struggle like this? But there was always that force that made me not to give up. And I'm not joking about it. There have been many times when I decided, I don't think I'm going to do this. Yeah. What for? Because there's a mental block. I don't know where I'm going. You know. If I can show you how many versions of the book I have written, you'll be surprised and just thrown away. Thrown away. If I can tell you how long I took to be able to dream up a suitable title, sometimes that is even more difficult than writing the book, because that title then guides you. So it took much longer to get the title, and after getting the title, then at least you have a roadmap. So that, because there's information and information and information, there's information overload. We don't have problems with information now, but what do you do with that information? That is the key thing. When I researched, I got this, I got that, I got that. But to put it in a cohesive fashion, to make it make sense, took a very long time. So I was just taking a chance, and I didn't give up. So the main thing is just take a chance. Take your chance and see what happens.
Sorry, can I take advantage of the fact that I've got a microphone? Bruce, I'm here. Bruce? Bruce, it's me.
Sorry, Christiana. Yes, of course, go ahead.
Sorry, no, because now this gentleman mentioned the electronic book and Lisa another book. I wonder, or maybe I should ask Simone again, how can we follow you and the following steps and the second part of the book? Have you got a dedicated social media page, or it's Tabo Segnolo Instagram account, or how do we follow you, Tabo, from now on?
Well, I'm surprised you're asking that question because you know the answer.
No,
Well, we have discussed this. This is just the first step, and then we're going to be going in with Simone and Stephanie and Keith, and we're going to be looking at the next chapter. This is just the beginning, and I don't have to tell you what ambitions we have with this. There's more ambitions. It's not just the book. Because we have to do something with these tools that we have. I mean, to see you sitting here, all the rainbow-colored people sitting here, and to think that because we're not talking to each other, we are not using the right tools to get to know each other, we are in fact moving further apart. So we have to make sure that we create a platform, which is just the beginning maybe of many to come. Let's hope other people mimic it, so that we can come back together. We know our country is in trouble. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabu. And yes, watch the space. Thanks, guys. We have one more question there from the gentleman. Would you mind taking the mic there, Teo? The microphone's on its way, and then we'll then take our last question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Tabo, and I'm here today as a brother. I've known him for 26 years since I came to Johannesburg, and he's been talking to me about this book in the last 5 years. But in the last 7 months, he's been talking to me about it so much, and I was privy to see some of the content, and I want to suggest that looking at the quality of the content, that if you will consider to donate 1 or 2 to every university, and that will help the young people to really appreciate the level of work and the research that you have done. In that book, you spoke about France leadership and the Bonaparte or whatever. Pardon? Yeah, she wanted to remind me that. So, and I think that those qualities of leadership that you discussed in that book will be something of note for every student, particularly from the university level. Maybe, I don't know which department it will fit in, maybe social, philosophy, psychology, law, and all that. So that's just my suggestion to Tabo to please let the universities have a copy of this book. But once again, I congratulate you on behalf of myself and Mrs. George, who's my mom. She's here. She celebrated her 75 recently. So thank you so much for having us.
Avi, thank you very much for that. And definitely we have thought along those lines. Charles, Hanyaho, you know we spoke about this some time back. Would you like to please hand him a microphone so that he can just maybe fill us in exactly the same direction that my brother here is trying to take us?
Thank you very much. Yes, Tabo is my project quantity survey on many projects. So I had input to him that please make sure that this book is also recorded at the Library of Congress in the United States. because that library is a source of the American universities, so in the world. Please